Rolling. We'll just start it this way. I'm Aaron Bratcher. This is the Ass Backwards Filmmaking Podcast, and today we have a very interesting topic. We have Brad Raylend, author of Same Self. He was on here about 2 weeks ago, and he's written a bunch of movies for me. Today we are talking Metal Gear. Brad, say hello.
How's it going?
So today we're talking about the Metal Gear film directed by, which is coming soon, directed by Jordan Vogt Roberts. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
So me and you have been pretty passionate about this. Me right now, I'm just going crazy because I just finished playing the first Metal Gear game, literally 10 minutes ago. Now,
Amazing, right?
Yeah, it's insane. So today we're gonna get into like what we think they should do for the movie, just the fan, everything we want out of it, and everything that they're definitely not gonna do. Now, nothing against Jordan Vogt Roberts. I love that guy. Like, you said his indie movie's good.
Yeah, Kings of Summer.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot.
yeah, that looks really fun. And then Kong Skull Island is like one of the most beautiful movies I've seen, cinematography wise. And action set piece wise, it was constructed too. I like Jordan Vogt Roberts' attitude and how like he'll pick himself apart as a filmmaker, and he's not like a pretentious cock about it.
Right.
So I mean, I like the guy. So there's nothing against you, Jordan, if you were ever to listen to this, which we're gonna tweet you in it. So please fucking listen to this. Yeah, let's just go for it. What do you want as like an overall out of a Metal Gear movie?
Oh, well, that's easy. I want to see the first game from PlayStation 1. I want to see that in a movie form. Easy.
I mean,
nothing original. Like, I just want to see Solid Snake going into Shadow Moses and encountering the ensemble of villains, and I want to see that on a big screen,
No, it's a perfect movie. Like, it sells itself. I mean, we had talked about this, and we were saying like if they're gonna do anything to break away from that narrative, it should be one to simplify it and not have such fucking like on the nose dialogue of like my character arc is complete, Snake. I am a full person now.
Yeah.
Like, get rid of that, but then at the same time, like you could have from like the NES games in the prologue to the film show Snake killing Big Boss. That way, one, we know who he is, because like not knowing who he is and watching that first playing the first game, like watching that first game, it like the whole liquid thing, it doesn't have a lot to you. So you could start the movie that way. Anything you want to say after that?
Yeah. No, I agree. The movie basically makes itself, Obviously, there's a lot of excessive dialogue that you'd have to trim out, and a lot of extra details and backstories and things that you could not fit into a 2-hour movie. But at the same time, a lot of that stuff you don't need, because, you keep the story in the present for the most part. You can keep in the Gray Fox stuff, because I think that is essential. Keep in the fact that Solid and Liquid both come from this guy called Big Boss, because it is an important part. But, I don't think I need to know too much about Raven or some of the other villains that spill out their life stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a huge issue. Like, my parents were Japanese. Like, I don't give a shit.
Or the Mei Ling's codec calls that we all skip.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't skip anything. I played...
Oh, really?
Literally, I mean, the reason I said watch the game is because you literally have to.
Right.
I mean, no, yeah, the first game is a movie. It's a great movie. It's, the best action movie, like Terminator 2. It's just so cool. And the action set pieces that are built into the game are perfect for a movie.
Yeah. it's very contained yet they're diverse, because there's a lot of settings within that one facility, to make it visually appealing, I think.
Yeah, it's so cool. And you said something earlier about Predator. Do you want to go on that spiel?
Yeah, so I have always thought the coolest thing about the Metal Gear series is that it's grounded in the real world in a way. You're this character that could exist in the real world. He's an elite soldier type guy, and he's limited to real world weapons and capabilities, yet he's faced against these science fiction and sometimes even supernatural odds. Yet, again, he's still limited to real world things, and the guns were always authentic in the game, and the military jargon was always pretty authentic. I always loved that.
No, I loved all the espionage and the nuke stuff and everything.
Yeah, and so the thing that I really liked about the first one is, it starts out very just like Predator. It starts out as a very militaristic story, pretty straightforward, and then somewhere in there things get crazy. The Psycho Mantis stuff, the what was the other weird one in the first one? The stuff with the cyborg ninja. That's the big one. That was kind of the first realization that, all right, this goes beyond the boundaries of the real world. And then just like the Predator, and then by the end of the movie, it's a completely different thing going on. The mission changed, but again, the character remained grounded. I always loved that.
No, I think it's so cool. Jordan, if you're listening, please be listening. Get Scott Eastwood to play him.
Well,
I mean, it didn't have to be Scott Eastwood. It could be anybody. But I mean, there's such a cool thing built in with him and Liquid, and you could have the same actor playing hero and villain.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, he would have to learn up on his British accent to play Liquid. It's so cool. And yeah, I mean, it writes itself, like you said. Like it's such a simple action movie. It's so cool, and it would be fresh. And just do the first game, and all you gotta cut out, the movie's written for you, man. Just cut out Master.
Yeah, that wasn't really needed.
Yeah, it was I could tell it was him the entire time. Get rid of that. Get rid of just a lot of the weird shit. Get rid of Deep Throat and all that stuff.
Yeah, but and we were talking about this. One of the things that you and I both are worried about is this Roberts guy, a big fan of the series, and he's pretty adamant about keeping Metal Gear true to its form. I think it would benefit the movie a lot to have a slight disconnect, Metal Gear, I think more people like the idea of Metal Gear than they actually like Metal Gear.
Oh, I'll say that straight up. Every time I think about the series, you said it, you said you never got what you wanted. The first game's the only time, and then sort of the fourth one, but he's so old. You never got what you wanted, which was just Solid Snake kicking ass. And you've only gotten that 1.5 times.
Yeah.
And so you said Jordan said it, right? He said, what did he say about betray the audience or whatever?
Oh, so he met with Kojima during some kind of panel interview, and he asked Kojima, the original creator of Metal Gear, what tip would you give me going forward with the Metal Gear Solid movie? And Kojima said, to betray your audience. Which I think I don't agree with. No, fuck that. Give us what we all want. We want to see the first game as a movie, because that's what we all remember.
Oh my god. Yes, please don't do anything weird like that.
From after the first game, with kind of an exception with 3, you never really get what you want out of Metal Gear. They kind of tease it, but it's always kind of a bittersweet result. the second one comes out, you think it's a sequel, like, hell yeah, all right, here we go again. And then Solid Snake is only in the prologue, and then you're playing fruitcake for the rest of the game. And then the third one comes out, which is a great game. I really love it. But again, you're not Solid Snake. You're, his dad and that whole thing. I'm trying to keep in mind that you haven't played these sequels yet, so I'm not trying to spoil anything for you. But
I mean,
you never really get. What's that?
No, go on.
You never really get exactly what you want. Betray your audience is kind of always what he sticks to, and that was definitely the case with the fifth one, which you have yet to play. So I'm not, spoil the big twist in it. But again, you get kind of the rug pulled out from under you, and it's like, well, I understand the artistic benefit of that, because it is creative, and he's not, repeating the same beats and things. He's kind of making original products each time, just kind of exist in that world, but they don't fall into that sequel-ism, where basically you take the good things from the previous and then you just repeat it, and then it's never as good as the original. In a way, each game is like its own original story. But yeah, it's always kind of that bittersweet feeling because they never live up to the first one, in my opinion. I think the fourth game is really cool. I loved it a lot, but it's also very grim, and it's not a very happy ending. Whereas the first one is I think you could have a perfect 3-act structure with a great ending.
No, yeah, it ended so beautifully.
It's got that very summer blockbuster feeling to it.
And it did, yeah, the whole thing, like the way that escalated the end fight scene, like everything with Liquid there, like the fight on top of Metal Gear is so cool. And then when you're driving through those tunnels, like literally do all that same stuff. And then I love how simple it is, his death, and like even the lines they say to each other as he's dying, like it's so cool. Just do that. Like you have Hans Zimmer do a score reminiscent to what he did for like The Rock, but it's the Metal Gear score. Just make a blockbuster action movie that and you can have your weird stuff in there if you want to break the fourth wall and have Psycho Mantis like call out the audience and stuff like that. Cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You can. We were kind of worried before, at least like a week ago, that because you would. I'm talking straight to Jordan Vogt Roberts. Jordan Vogt Roberts had said that he wanted to keep like all the weird stuff in there, and I didn't really know what that meant at the time, but like now I get it, and it's like, yeah, if you want to keep like the fourth wall break stuff, like the cool stuff like that, do that. Do whatever you want. Go fucking hog wild. Just do the first game. That's all I'm asking. Don't go off, split into a sequel territory. Because I've seen people play like the sequel. I haven't played them myself yet. Next week I'm shooting a Len Kabaczynski movie next week, but after that, when I get back from that, I'm gonna play the fourth game, and then probably the fifth.
I would definitely recommend playing the third one.
All right,
or if you're gonna skip out on any of them, skip out on 2. But definitely play 3, and definitely play 3 before you play 4.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just, I feel like it's gonna get messed up. You guys shouldn't make the movie, basically. Like,
I mean, that's the problem with video game movies, though. Is no one's out there trying to make a crappy video game into a movie. They're trying to make good games into movies. And the problem is these games are basically already movies. They've got great characters, great stories.
Well,
we're invested in
Metal Gear.
And oh yeah, big time. So you're basically trying to reboot something that doesn't need to be rebooted. Metal Gear is so old though that it would be really cool to see an actual guy dressed up like Snake sneaking around, and saying lines and fighting those same villains, it could potentially be something really cool.
Well, and not like, yeah, everything about that game, besides the problems we discussed with it, everything with
Right.
it is, it's such a cool movie. You have like Revolver Ocelot and all these cool ass villains
Yeah.
that, you know, it would keep the movie interesting, because you start the game and everything's kind of like, that's another thing I love about the game, and what you talked about, like the Predator thing earlier. Like, we started the game and it was like Splinter Cell or something, you know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
espionage, and then literally like I think the first weird thing was either Cyborg Ninja or I don't know. It's like once those villains showed up, like the big five villains, like once they showed up, that's when you started to like see the seams in it, and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool and like weird. And then by the end, it's just the huge thing. So like, do that. Keep the movie grounded. Keep it small in the beginning, and then like it can take off and be this huge movie at the ending. But like, you know, still keep it grounded for sake.
Still very contained though. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm not even going to venture to guess what kind of budget they would need. I just actually watched an interview with Jordan Vogt Roberts, and he was talking about the R rating versus the PG-13 rating, and he does want it to be rated R, but you know, going that route, you're probably going to have a smaller budget. I mean, there's no way you're going to make a Metal Gear movie and it's not going to have a whole lot of CGI and special effects and stuff, but
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be so violent either. Like the only violent stuff in the game is the cyborg ninja,
yeah, when he slaughters all those guys,
and then and then when he dies, obviously.
yeah, that's actually a good point though. The violence is not necessary, the blood and all that.
Yeah, it could be a PG-13 like. Two, I think it's old enough, and it's like you said, people like the idea of Metal Gear more than they like Metal Gear itself, and that's because Kojima did all this shit, and the game betrays you. That's why, like, the first one, without a doubt, from what I understand so far, is like just the pinnacle.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then everything after that, you never get what you want. So why would you want to do that to the audience that sort of likes these games but loves the first one? Like, just do that. It's already there for you. And then, I don't know, man. Like, it's so cool. The ending's beautiful. Like, Shadow Moses is a really cool, like, ascending level thing. Like, it's... Everything about it's just cool. Like, just do that.
Yeah. One thing I'm worried about is that they're going to try to set up stuff,
Sorry again, say that again.
like try to set up sequels, leave open ends, and you know, do the whole Marvel thing. Or, you know, you're basically just trying to do part one of multiple.
They don't need to do that either, because like the first game was a contained thing. It began and ended. And if they just stuck to the first game, and if they want to do the sequels, just take a note out of the games book and do it the way they did the games. You'll still have this original franchise that's doing its own thing for the first time, where like the sequels actually takes place 30 years prior. Like, you could do that the whole thing, you know, the whole franchise. If you know, because they're definitely gonna turn into a franchise if it's successful. But, you know, the track record of video game movies says that if you don't kill it, it's not going to be that successful. So why even take the chance and not make it just the coolest thing ever and try and make something weird and throw little fucking Rogue One jabs towards the audience, like, yeah, here's that pig nose guy from that bar in Star Wars. Like, don't pull that shit. Who cares? Just do the first game. It'll be awesome. And you're trying to do a franchise here. You'll get everybody in it. Two, the first Metal Gear, like, that's what I started like 10 fucking minutes ago. What I was saying about it's such a niche thing, Metal Gear is. And more people like the idea. So there's not that many people familiar with it. You fucking make the movie. It is the first game. It's just this huge blockbuster with all this cool, weird shit in it. You make that movie. you're gonna rope everybody in, and then you can make your sequels. You can get in all your weird shit. Just do the first one simple, normal. The first game was the perfect way to get into that world. It introduced just enough weird shit and like cool concepts that then if you want to do the Raiden stuff later, do it.
Raiden.
Sorry, I keep saying that.
Don't worry, I don't like his character anyway.
Raiden. I'm thinking fucking Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
Don't worry, I don't hold it against you. You haven't got there yet. But, yeah, I mean, I'm few and far between on this one, but I personally don't like the weird stuff. I'm not saying like the Psycho Mantis stuff and the ninja. Like I like that stuff. Again, like I was saying, I like the contrast between the authenticity, the authentic military stuff, and then the supernatural stuff. I think that's what makes the story of the games unique. But like some of the weird camera stuff they do in the game, like some of the weird dialogue that just like real tongue in cheek that is quirky and awkward. Like I hope that's not like a big part of the movie, because you do something like that, it could turn away your general audience. Your small community that came up playing Metal Gear, is familiar with the series. Yeah, they'll get it.
But at the end of the day, what's that worth? Like, oh wow, yeah, he said a little line.
Yeah, and yeah, you're not going to make everybody happy, but
yeah, no matter what, this is like a losing battle. Well, not losing, but he's already going uphill with this, like from the start, because the track record of video game movies. So why take the chance and try and write your own movie? Like, for the love of God, Jordan Vogt Roberts, look at Resident Evil and what that series did. That's something that you had a really cool like action franchise with zombies in it. You had this groundwork laid for them, and then what the fuck did they do? They went off and made Alice and superpowers and all this shit, which is from Code Veronica and stuff, which is like one of the least liked games. But like, you had this groundwork. All they had to do was just make a really cool zombie movie. But then they had fucking Paul W.S. Anderson come in, and he turned it into The Matrix for some reason.
Oh boy. I mean, I think Resident Evil is probably a little harder to do than Metal Gear, just because I think Metal Gear is already made. All you got to do is get real people to do what's already been done, Yeah. I mean, what do you think of a good video game movie so far?
There's not been a great one. It's pretty sad when like the best video game movies is like Need for Speed, because it's inoffensive.
Oh boy, yeah.
And there was one other one I talk about all the time where I'm like, as far as video game movies go, and it's not horrible, it's not great, it's nothing to write home about, but it's inoffensive and it's not a fucking mess. Shit, I can't even think of what it is. I don't know, like, Mortal Kombat's a dumb fun movie, but it's not good.
Yeah.
Resident Evil movies are terrible.
Yeah.
I hear that Assassin's Creed movie was just god awful. I tried to turn it on, it was just too goddamn boring.
Yeah, that I actually saw in theaters, and honestly, the same thing. The thing I didn't like about the movie was the same thing I hate about the games. That is the whole game within a game thing where they're going back and reliving the lives of ancestors and stuff like that. And I mean, there was some bad CGI which really took you out of it, but the best part of that movie was when he was actually the assassin doing all the jumping and fighting and all that.
Yeah, but
that's not most of the movie.
Yeah, they treated it like the first game where they went back. And two, that movie, I mean, they had the fucking budget. I don't know why he went off that game. Like, my buddy is playing the Egypt one right now, and it looks awesome. Like, I enjoy watching it. And that one, I think they figured it out after that first fucking game. Like, hey, we shouldn't jump back and forth so much. And now I've been watching him play that game, and it's just awesome because he's doing nothing but the assassin stuff.
Yeah, I mean, those games they come out each year and they get a new paint job and they always look really cool, but they're very repetitive, and
That's the kind of issue I have with a lot of open world games. Like, I don't know, I've been playing like Just Cause 3, but it's just the same shit. Like, it's fun for the first the first day you play it, and then after that you're like, all right, it's just destroying a little village, and then
Yeah, I want a little more substance rather than just
yeah,
large open landscapes.
and that's the hope for like for a while there, it's not anymore, but for a while there, Michael Bay was supposed to make a Ghost Recon movie, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's so stupid! Like, don't do that." And it's like,
Well, after 13 hours, I was like, ooh.
yeah, 13 Hours is awesome. Like, it's a good war movie. Two, like, Ghost Recon's not something like this that has such a dense backstory.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you can literally
Basically,
say again.
yeah, basically all it is a name and a fictional unit. Within that, you got limitless possibilities of a story and characters and all that.
Like, just do like not like exactly like, but like do like an Act of Valor type thing. Where you just write a story. It's a fictional little war movie, and you make a war movie out of it. Cool. Now, see, that has some promise. Metal Gear has all the like promise in the world, but they're not gonna do the right things, I don't think.
Tell you what, if that director listened to this, he's probably gonna be pissed off. He's like, I haven't even started yet.
Jordan Vogt Roberts, I like you. I like you a lot. Okay, I like you. I started the thing saying like we like him.
Yeah, little disclaimer.
Sorry if you've gotten this far, or if you turned it on at all. Sorry, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm literally worried about it, and I don't know. Just like the ending of that first game, it had such an arc with like Snake, and like even though he was engineered to be this way, he can be whatever he wants to be, and it ended kind of open. It's left kind of open ended with like he's gonna die, but he just needs to live, and it's beautiful. It's happy. It's got some like philosophy in there that's really cool, and then it ends so beautifully and like a movie. Like
with them on the snowmobile and all that.
Just do that. I mean, how many times have I yelled that at the mic?
I mean, maybe he will. Yeah, a few times, but
I saw a little thing.
Maybe he will do it.
I saw a little thing on his Twitter today that he posted, and it was like the little what do you call that little like phone thing you have in the game? The codec. Yeah, the codec from the first game. It was that, and they had like the voice of Sniper Wolf on there, and she was like, Jordan Vogt Roberts like is going to make this movie, and like he's going to adapt this, yada yada yada. Like it was just a little message, but like the fact that he didn't pick any of the other games to do that or anything, like maybe gave me a little hope, but it's not enough to like put me at ease.
Well, from the interviews that I have watched with him and the things that I've been seeing, it seems like his primary focus is the first game. He mentioned that, well, I mean, who knows how true this is going to be when it comes time to make it, and he's dealing with a production company, but he said that there's no, he's not going to make a movie and not have Cyborg in it, and I mean, everybody knows of Metal Gear Solid, the first one. That was like the game to have when you played.
Awesome.
When we all had PlayStations, there's no way you don't at least, incorporate that somehow. I mean, I would just make it the whole movie, but.
I mean, I think we're just getting repetitive at this point. It writes itself. Just do it. All right, I think that's it for today. It's a bit of a short one, but we'll face it. I mean, is there anything else you want to say on the subject?
No, I hope it's good.
I pray that it's great and lives up to everything I want it to be. Jordan, I hope you're the best. Yeah, screw it. That'll wrap it up for today. That was Brad Raylend. Do you have any Twitter handles or anything you want to dump out to the audience?
Just Brad Raylend on Twitter and Instagram.
Oh, you can find his book Same Self on Amazon.com. It's a wonderful book about time travel and action, and it's just the coolest thing ever. It's like a Metal
And
Gear
very,
thing, where it's just a
yeah, it's
movie.
kind of very reminiscent of Metal Gear.
Actually, a lot. Yeah, so if you're a fan of Metal Gear, read the book. It's really cool, and like Metal Gear, it's a movie, but it's not a movie. It's a book. So, yeah, check out Brad Raylend stuff, and we'll see you when we make another one of these. All right, bye, hanging up.